So what's going on in your world, Glenn? Anything you want to talk about today?
I mean, there's obviously something you want to mention.
That I want to mention. No, I don't have. I mean, I guess what you could do is take an inventory of the news stories of the day, right? And then start to think about if you had any personal connection to them. Let me think. That's going on. Well, no, I don't have any personal connection to any of those stories. Do you? Is there any personal connection you might feel to any of the major news stories of the day?
You know, for those people who are listening right now and they may not follow the news and have personal connections to the news, they may be wondering, what are you even talking about?
Oh, well. And we're talking about a potential story that you might want to discuss today.
Yeah.
About
I want to.
An individual.
I really want.
From CNN.
Well, there's two ways to go. And the two ways to go would be, one would be very fun, very satisfying.
Sure.
Funny. Entertaining. Right?
Yeah.
And the other one would be Christ-like.
The Bible not always hilarious, I've noticed.
No, but usually right.
Yeah, almost all the time.
Almost all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a struggle. It's just I'm fighting the urge to be very, very funny.
Well, maybe it's worth, instead of talking about today's news, to look back at history, Like, for example, let me look back in the annals of history to about 4 years ago when I was watching CNN. And there was an interview on TV, and the host of the show, the show's name was Reliable Sources, I believe.
Making this easier.
And I believe the interview was supposed to be about one thing. I can't remember at all what that was, coming together or something like that. Yeah. But then it took a turn about halfway through. And the interviewer started talking to the interviewee about how much trouble his business was in. We have a clip of it?
No, come on.
Oh, really?
No, come on.
No, well, she's saying, because I was trying to describe it, and I can only do that so well if we have the actual audio.
Get behind me, Satan. Get behind me.
One's arguing justice, one's arguing mercy, or they say they are.
Familiar voice.
But they're not. All they're doing is playing politics, and the American people are tired of it. Who is talking about an actual solution on this? Who's actually done something? Who's actually consistent and cared when it was a Democrat in office and cared when it's a Republican in office? Those people exist around the country, and they're watching you two, the media and Donald Trump, playing this little game back and forth, and they're sick of it. They don't want to hear about it from either side.
I want the critique because I invited you on. I'm self-aware enough to know that we need to talk about this because I know it's a problem. The mainstream media is having a very hard time. The mainstream media is having a very hard time reaching Trump's base. That's a fact. We see that in all the polling.
Yeah, well, then here's the deal. Brian, you all have my phone number. I've reached out to all of you in the past and said, let's have a conversation not on the air. You really want to understand? You want to hear the other side?
Why can't our viewers?
Then let's have a conversation where everybody's
not
interested.
Why can't you tell our viewers right now?
Gosh,
because
this is
it's
making
all
this
about
so
ratings.
difficult.
Because this is all about ratings.
Is this bringing it back at all?
This isn't about ratings. This is about saving our country, bringing us together.
See, that's nice.
Stop dividing us. I mean, I can't.
So to be clear, you think that I'm dividing the country? You think I'm dividing the country for ratings by booking you?
Brian, stop. Look what you're doing. When did this become about you? This is about the media and the administration. That's what you guys want to make it into.
If it was about me, I would do like a 10-minute commentary the way you used to.
Listening to me. Why?
If it was about me, I'd get out a blackboard the way you used to.
Is he being?
Okay.
Is that Christ?
Maybe you should.
I mean, the point is, what you mean is making it about me? I don't see how I've made it about me. I want to know.
It's not about it. You just said. Never mind. Look, Brian, if you want to have a conversation, the media really wants to know. Great, we can have that conversation. But every time I've approached, everybody always says yes. But as soon as it gets tough or uncomfortable, nobody's interested. Nobody's interested in looking at themselves and saying, what did I do? I know what I've done. I've tried to make amends, and I'm trying to.
And we've talked about that before. I completely agree with you. And we all do need to be more self-reflective. I do have to ask you, there's this new headline on the Daily Beast saying that your company's in trouble, that you were trying to find a buyer.
See, Glenn?
Is this related to the point about people not talking to each other? That if you want to create that media company, there's not interest? What's going on with that?
Wow. Brian, thanks a lot. I think that's the most ridiculous question I've ever heard. I'm sitting here ready to talk to you about the detaining of children and parents and trying to break families apart, something that has been happening with Janet Reno. That's why it went to the Supreme Court in the first place. With Janet Reno, it's been happening. We want to stop it, and you want to play those games? Have a nice day.
What game did I just play?
Oh, God.
Okay. See, Glenn? Now, yeah, of course, as you pointed out, there's two ways to go with a news story. And one of them is being incredibly Christ-like, as you were trying to be in that interview there. But Brian Stelter was interviewing you about how your company was failing. It's weird because we're sitting here at work for that company right now. And I don't know what Brian's doing, but not the same thing. Is there anything that you would want to bring up on that? Because as you point out, there's two ways to go with every news story. Did that help bring you back to the moment a little bit, watching that clip once again and watching all the quizzical faces of Brian Stelter? I don't understand.
No, it's not.
It's good. It's a good exercise.
Not good. I just told Stu as we were taking that 10-second break, that's really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
Well, I think you knew I was going to antagonize you to see if you would break on Brian Stelter, but you didn't know that the video of that interview was coming. And just to watch you kind of relive those moments.
Okay.
The excited, smug nature.
Do not gloat when your enemy falls, when he stumbles. You do not let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see it and disapprove and turn his wrath away from him.
Look,
Just saying.
I would agree
That's
with
my thought of the day. That's my thought of the day.
By the way, we should mention Brian Stelter got fired. We didn't mention that yet, but he's got let go. Show canceled. 30-year show could not survive. Brian Stelter. But
wish him well.
I will say this. The lesson here is not to do that in 2018, and some of the other things Brian has done through the last few years. And I pointed this out to people yesterday who only know Brian Stelter from this recent turn. This turn in the Trump era where he became a left-wing media critic.
Get closer to the point.
But what I was saying was, I remember him from when we first started on cable news.
Yeah.
He reviewed your very first show. It wasn't, I wouldn't say positive review, but it wasn't the worst review we've ever had.
It was fair.
It was fair. And he's written some of the most fair pieces about you at times. He's
a long time ago.
A long time ago. And I honestly think he's a really good example of what the Trump era has done to a lot of people in the media. It's broken them. Their anger against Donald Trump has changed a lot of people who, yes, they may have been liberal. Yeah, they may have been Democrats. They may have been left-leaning. But it's changed them into completely irrational actors.
I don't think that's the only thing. I really don't think that's the only thing that has happened. It is also a result of your world being so small. They're in New York City, and New York City comes to New York City. I mean, the world comes to New York City.
Sure.
And, they're working at, these places where you have global reach. And so you think that you are the globe and you're very informed and you know everything because, look, I'm with the best people and the best people from all over the world. And it's so cosmopolitan here. It's not. Your friends are all exactly the same.
Well, I agree
That's
with
not real life.
I definitely agree with that analysis,
Yeah, I know.
but that analysis existed long before 2016.
No, I know, but the hatred. Yeah, I know, but the hatred of Donald Trump and the and the political agenda. Not everything was political. See, right now, you cannot talk about anything without it being political. Sports, political. The big Pebble Beach car show I was watching on CNBC this morning. Big Pebble Beach car show. That's political as well, because they're going to be talking about the new cars, the all electric cars, et cetera, et cetera. Why is everyone coming out with an electric car? Politics. I mean, everything now is politics. Who you are, how you see yourself is now fought out in the political space. That's what's changed. Mm-hmm. And the left has gone insane. And people who used to be fairly reasonable and used to agree with the Bill of Rights, they have been so skewed now that we got to do things. I'm for the Bill of Rights, but there's things we got to do. No, there's not. No, there's not. On either side. No, there is not. You don't silence speech. And so they get this, they just get this snowball rolling in their own little clique where everybody's thinking alike. And you pour hate like gasoline onto that fire, and you're done. You're done.
And you're choosing to not go that direction.
Shut up.
You're choosing.
Oh, man, there's a skin
Gandhi.
wig right at your fingertips. Our producers went out and they got skin wigs, and they were like, this is going to be funny. And, it would be so funny. It would be so funny. It would be so easy to do. It's so good.
But you're choosing to do the right thing. And can we give Glenn
shut up.
Come on. There we go. Glenn.
You are such a jerk.
Well-behaved.
You know you agree with me. Shut up.
Wow, the whole crowd.
No, shut up.
Can you hear it?
You agree. We talked about it on the air before. You agree with me.
Look, of course, Glenn, I am easily restrained in a moment like
turn
this.
His microphone off. I don't need
this. This isn't one of those moments that I would have trouble. This is a moment that I can see you're struggling, and that's why I wanted to investigate how you were feeling. Because as a friend, I am concerned.
You're such